Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of the not so common, not so special podcast. It is a kind of somewhat return of form, hopefully. I know I said I was going to do like a year of podcasts. Obviously, that didn't work out. It's been a bit crazy. If you're watching this on video, you can see the digs have changed me behind me here. If you're just listening to the audio format of this, I'm in a new room. It looks completely different than the last time I recorded this podcast. Normally, I just have like a blank wall behind me, but this time I decided I would do it from my computer, looking at the rest of my game room. Now, it pains me to say that this episode isn't quite how I wanted it to come out. I wanted There was another episode that was supposed to come up before this, and if you listen to the last episode, you'll hear that I say that I'm going to have a guest on the next episode. Then that guest was True McFly from YouTube, one of my longtime YouTube friends. And we had a really good conversation for like an hour and a half of our favorite music in video games. And it was going to be the music episode for the Not So Special podcast. Unfortunately, it did not work out. There was some internet issues, and it was really choppy. Everything was coming in and out. I was working on editing it for a while, trying to piece things together, and it did not, like, it wouldn't have sounded good, basically. If you were listening to it in an audio format, you probably would have been annoyed and unsubscribed. And I don't want you to do that. But suffice to say, go and check out True McFly here on YouTube. TRUMCFLY. Yeah, True McFly. He's a really great guy on YouTube. And again, Matt McFly, if you're listening to this, his name's Matt, or Matthew. I apologize that it did not work out. I contacted you directly through Facebook to let you know what's going on, but I don't think you understand how upset I am that it didn't work out, because I think we had a really good conversation. And I'm sorry to the listeners that it didn't work out either. If someone's really curious, I can send you the link. I still have the saved video if you want to see how bad it was, or if you want to try to like listen to it and create your own kind of mind edit as you're doing it, then that would be fine too. But it's just not something that I want to put out on the podcast feed officially, just for audio quality's sake. That's it. But other than that, about a house. That's why my room looks different. It's also why I've been gone for so long. Things were moving on, and progress was being made towards buying a house, and so I kind of just put like the YouTube thing on hold and the podcast on hold, and I started working some extra shifts at work and trying to get some extra money, working overtime, that kind of thing, just to try to get that down payment. And this is the millennial dream right here, is everyone wants to buy a house, no one can afford it. We couldn't have afforded it without some outside help. So I'm eternally grateful to everyone who stepped up, everyone who helped us with financial advice. My dad, who's a real estate agent, who helped get the deal, and I'll go into some details here in a little bit about how you go about buying a house in 2018. This is being recorded in 2019, but I bought the house last year, so in December. So yeah, it's thank you to everyone who came out to support us and is still supporting us. So yeah, buying a house. I guess I'll start at the beginning. It's a bit of a long story. Hopefully this podcast won't go too long. I've got a couple of stories I kind of want to just put out there. Just for interest's sake. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, so I don't know if you guys know what's going on in my life. So I'm gonna put it out there, and if you don't listen, that's okay too. No hard feelings. So obviously we've been looking for a house for a while. Everything was super out of our price range. I mean, anything decent's going for $500,000 Canadian. So what's that, like $100,000 US? And yeah, we daily looking at the cycle online, looking at the real estate listings, seeing what's out there, what's in our price range. And we were considering even moving out of town just to start, just to get a foot in the door, a handle on the situation. drove around a couple places. They were all nice, and by the time we decided, what, we're kind of interested in the place, it was gone. Like the thing with real estate nowadays is that it's one of the biggest purchases you'll make in your life, and you have to come up with you have to make a decision on it within like an hour. Like you have to decide, okay, yes, we want it, and then you got to put in the paperwork. Someone's got to run everything around and put the offers in, and make sure everything's done. Because if you're not ready for it, it's gone. Like it's just prices are being inflated like crazy. To get a handle on the situation here in the KW region, because Toronto is only an hour away, Toronto real estate prices are skyrocketing. Like it's hard to find anything decent for I don't know, 750,000, almost $1 million now. It's getting ridiculous. So a lot of the professionals who are working in Toronto are moving out here where the real estate is quote unquote affordable. So that means that there's a lot of competition out here, which pushes the prices up because everyone's just like, oh hey, we can make more money. We can start charging Toronto prices or lower end Toronto prices, which are really high end KW prices. And yeah, so the people from Toronto snatch them up, and then the locals we're forced out into the other regions, and then we push those housing market prices up. Yeah, it's a domino effect. So we were almost ready to cut our losses. For the past like 4 or 5 years, we've been renting out my parents' basement. That's why it looks so dark and dungy downstairs in my previous videos. But it was getting to the point where with the little one. Little guy, it was getting tight down there. It was just a 1 bedroom, so we're all 3 of us in 1 bedroom, and one like big family room, kitchen, living room area, office, dining room. All of that was like the giant like den downstairs, you could call it. That's how that worked. So it was just getting tight. We needed our own space. Like we were even looking at buying just like an apartment, buying a condo apartment, basically. If we could, just to get some like 2 bedrooms at least, just to get some more space. So, but even those are getting the high 200s to get something decent in those. So we ended up finding a pretty interesting place. It was a condo unit, very close to where I work, and so we ended up kind of driving through that and looking around it. The place was empty. The previous owner had left already. It was just an empty unit. So we were able to go in and look around, and it was really nice, and the price was right, and so we decided that hey, you know what, we're gonna make a bid on this one. Let's start the process, and in the meantime, it was really nice living downstairs with my dad because I could just go up and ask him real estate questions. Hey, what are you thinking about this price? Like, how's it gonna go? Do you think it's gonna go under? Do you think it's gonna go much higher? He's just like, honestly, it's probably gonna go for more than what they're asking because that's just the way it is nowadays. We couldn't afford really any more than what they were asking. So if we put an offer in, it would be like at asking price or just a little bit above, but not much more. So we started the process. We didn't get very far because by the time we saw it, there's only like 2 or 3 days left on the listing before they were accepting offers. So by the time we were about to put our offer in, we had less than 24 hours, and my dad contacted the agent, and basically there was an offer in there that was going to be higher than what we could basically do. So already we're out of it. Before we even put an offer in, we're already out of the bidding war. Now that's not to say you can't get a house for less money. One of the I'll say tricks nowadays. It's not really a trick, but more of like an arguing your case type thing is you take a picture of your family, you write a little note about yourself. Hey, this is who we are. We want to move. Your house is lovely. We would love to move in. We want our kid to go to this school and everything like that. You just kind of present yourself as a potential buyer. Basically, it's almost like you're applying for a job. That's one of the ways to do it, and we were considering doing that. And in some cases that works. So you can actually, if you use that tactic, if it's an older couple or an older single person. Sometimes they feel sympathy for the youngins coming in, and they'll take that offer because it's someone that they want the house to go to for a reasonable price versus they're going to take more money to someone who else they don't care about. So it's not, you're playing the system, but you're doing it hopefully for the right reason. Um, but anyways, so we were even doing that. Actually, the house my parents bought, which was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they got it for a lower offer than the highest offer because they were nicer to the buyer, or the nicer to the seller. The other guy was kind of a dick. He put in a higher offer, but they didn't want to sell him because he was a dick. Go see what is that, episode 2? Um, so yeah, so I was at my friend's birthday party. We went out paintballing, and my wife and son were hanging out with her parents. And on a whim, they decided that they were going to go look at this house that we had already been taken out of the market of. So they just kind of drove by. There's a for sale out front sign, for sale out front, for sale sign out front. And they got out to look at it, and the guy across the street said, "Oh, are you looking to buy? I'm going to sell my house." Like, there's no sign, there's no for sale sign out there. He's still living in there. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to sell my place, and it's nicer than that one." And my father-in-law, if you've ever met him, you'll know he's a very he's a likable guy, but he also likes to ask. He's just basically invited himself in to say, "Hey, if you're selling, you mind if we come through and look at the house and see what it looks like?" And it was pretty nice, I wasn't there to see it. By the time I came back after paintballing, my wife and her family were there, and they all said, "Listen, this guy's selling his house. He's going to sell it for less money, and it's nicer than the other place. Go and have a look at it." So my wife and I came all the way back. We looked at the house. It was nice. The guy, he's a nice guy, a little bit off the wall, but nice guy overall. So we basically told him, you know what, if you're willing to sell it for this price, then we'll buy it. We're not going to argue about it. We're not going to send offers back and forth and everything like that. So he agreed, and he said, "Okay, yeah, that's the price. We'll just deal with it. We'll get the lawyers involved, and we'll do it." And I said, "Well, we would like to use, like, my dad's been helping us, and we've kind of signed, as much as it doesn't make sense. My dad is a real estate agent, and because of that, because he's giving us real estate advice, and because he wasn't really working on his own, like, he works as part of a team, it was kind of unethical for him to just give us free advice as much as he would have wanted to. He ended up having to, like, make us sign, like, almost like a real estate agreement that we were going to use him as our real estate. He's my dad, so I didn't really care. But at the same time, now we'd already signed that agreement with him. So now he doesn't. Now the seller of this house doesn't want to use a real estate agent because he doesn't want to pay commission fees. He just wants to pay the lawyer and be done with it. And so I had to tell him, you know what, we've already signed an agreement with my dad, so we kind of have to pay him something. Like, what do you want to do? Anyways, long story short, we ended up having a back and forth of him saying, "Okay, we'll use him," to "No, I don't want to use a real estate agent at all, and now I want more money." So he upped the price by like $10,000 that he wanted for the house. Out of nowhere. I know I'm skipping a whole lot, but trust me, this process is over like a couple of weeks, by the way. So we're trying to get the ball rolling of, okay, we're going to buy it, and he's stalling, not signing the agreement. He had Thanksgiving with his family, and then all of a sudden they're telling him to get more money, and so he comes back and says he wants more money, but he wants more than we can afford, and we're trying to pay my dad some stuff, and we can't afford to pay him like thousands of dollars up front, so we're kind of hoping to just pay the seller more so that he can pay the commission. It's a bit of a rigmarole. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, trust me, it's complicated. Buying a house sucks, man. Don't. Do it if you can, by all means. Do it if you can, but it is hectic. It is hectic. So in the meantime of doing all this, we have to get like letters from your employer. You got to do credit checks. You got to do mortgage application. You got to do down payment stuff. You got to prove where you got your money from. You have to prove that you're not financed by like a terrorist organization. All that kind of stuff. And because we were using / not using a real estate agent, we had to do most of that stuff ourselves. We have to. It is a condo, so we have to do almost like a background check of the property. You got to get house insurance or condo insurance, and you got to get gas hooked up. You got to get water hooked up, electricity hooked up. It goes on and on and on. It's just like you go through it like bang, 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 bang. And you hit a point, and then you got to start all over again. Okay, now this address changed here, so now you got to go back and contact everybody else and change the address here. Oh my gosh, it's definitely one of the most stressful times of my life, and this happened in September, October-ish. And we were hoping to buy it by November 1st. November 1st came and went. Nothing was happening. And then we finally decided that, we're going to shoot for a December 1st closing date. Now, the interesting part is he wasn't the owner of the condo. Now, this gets a little bit complicated. His wife had passed away, and he was separated from her. So the condo was actually in the name of her and his son, one of his sons. And his son lives in Montreal. So in order to get permission to sell the house, he has to provide like almost like a power of attorney, basically. He has to prove that he's signing on her behalf, even though because she's not able to. And the next thing is we had to get the son in Montreal, to sign the offer agreement and the sale agreement. So that was a heck of a time in itself, and that took the longest. That took almost 3 weeks for him to sign papers, because the lawyer of the seller he's kind of one of these old guys. He wants to mail it out, or he wants to fax it out, and have the guy sign it and scan it and email it all back. It's just there's electronic signatures now that you can do, and it's just a lot faster. But for some reason, the lawyer just refused to expedite the process by any means, and basically held us up by 3 weeks, just waiting for a signature. Anyways, all said and done, we finally got the house. We paid a little bit more than we'd originally agreed on, but not as much as he was asking for, like at his highest end. So we met a little bit closer down to the original price. So that was good. It was a little bit more, but whatever. We still got it for way under market value, so we can't really complain about that. And I guess, in all things considered, it went fairly smoothly for how fast it went. Like, normally buying a house can take up to 6 months, six to eight months for everything to get through, and we managed to do everything in about less than 2 months. But the last month, man, holy, like, it was just running around from appointment to appointment, and trying to get all our ducks lined up. So yeah, we moved in on December 1st. That's the other thing. You got to book a moving van like 3 weeks in advance, especially for the 1st, which is the busiest moving day of any month, because that's when everyone moves in. So I couldn't book it for a full day because they were so busy. I only managed to book it for like 6 hours. So it was, get up early, start packing the truck. We were hoping to do it in one trip, and then by the time we were the truck was full, there's still stuff in the house. Well, we're gonna have to do 2 trips. So I did 2 trips. Now here's the interesting part. On the 1st, so the 1st was a Friday, and the 2nd was a Saturday. So we were gonna move on the Saturday. The Friday I took off work with my son because daycare wasn't available. So I was just hanging out with him for the day, and I had to pick up keys that day anyway. That was the day everything was supposed to finalize, so I had to pick up the keys before 4 p.m. So I would finish work at 5 normally, 5:30. So it just worked out that I had the day off. So, and then you still have to do... I had to run to the condo. I had to hand in condo agreements. You have to sign a bunch of rules that you're going to agree to, and you have to pay your condo fees. You have to hand that stuff in. We had to pay for parking. That's an extra fee on top. Man, there's fees for everything. So we're doing that. I got a call. I said the lawyer told me I'd get a call between 2 and 4 when the keys were ready to get picked up. I got a call at 1 o'clock saying your keys are ready. Come and get them. So I left. I went to go get the keys. I got them. I had my son with me. I had my mom with me. We decided that you know what? my mom hadn't even seen the house at this point. We'd come and seen it a couple times with my dad and my wife and and myself, but my mom had never seen it, so she wanted to see it. I said, "Come on, I got the keys. Let's go have a look." I opened the door, and there is a. By the way, I'd seen that the night before. We did like a final walkthrough, and he was there, and we talked to him. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get some stuff out. I got a little bit left." He didn't have much in there left, so that was all right. And I walk in, and there was a dresser sitting in the hallway, right in front of the front door. There's a couch in there. There's a fireplace in the living room. There's another couch downstairs. There's a bed upstairs. There's still some stuff. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I guess he didn't want this stuff. Maybe he's gonna leave it. And he said before, you know what? If I can't take anything, I'll just leave it here. You can keep it if you want it, or you can get rid of it. Whatever. Okay, fine. You know what? I get in the house for a bit of a deal, so fine. I work at a garbage place, so it's not a big deal for me to get rid of something if I have to. So when I walked in, I assumed all the stuff he's leaving, he's left for us at this point. So, all right. Looking around, I was looking for. There's also a garage with a automatic door opener. So I was looking around for that. Like, hey, I don't see a garage door opener anywhere. I was looking for a note for like the keypad code to get in. Nothing. So here I was excited. I just bought a house. I'm gonna get in. There's some stuff, more stuff to do with. It's a little bit dirty. I gotta clean up. Okay, whatever. Can't get into the garage. My mom wants to see in the garage to see what it looks like. Can't get in. So I send the guy a text. Hey, thanks for everything. What's the code to the garage? Is there a way to get in? And I get a text back that says, call me. So that's not a good sign. If someone sends you a text that says, call me, it's probably not good. So, all right, fine. Gave him a call. Hey, man, what's up? Oh, not much. Just I was up late last night moving. So you're asking for a code for the garage. Here's the thing. I still have stuff in there that I need to get out. Okay. All right. Okay. I guess that's fine. How long? When are you going to get out today? Are you getting out tonight? This is on the 1st, the Friday night. No, I got plans tonight. I might come tomorrow or on Sunday or whatever and get it done. I'm like, no, like, you need to get it out now because I'm moving tomorrow. All your stuff needs to get out because I'm putting my stuff in there. Well, I'm kind of busy. I don't have a whole lot of time to deal with it. I'm like, I don't mean to be rude right now. But like, I kind of need the space. I don't need your stuff in there, and I also need to get in the garage to do it. All right, well, I'll see what I can do. All right, next question. The stuff in the house, what are you doing with that? Oh, yeah, I need to get that stuff out of there, too. Really? Okay. Now, here's an aside. If all that stuff had been in the garage and he just had to get in the garage, fine. The fact that he left stuff in the house, this sets off, like, alarm bells, He left stuff in the house that he still wants to get. Okay, next question. Do you still have a key to the house? Yes. So he still has a key to my house that I have now paid for. Well, paid for in loose terms. I have paid for is now in my possession. I'm on the ownership, and he has a key into my house. So right now I'm sketchy because I'm bringing stuff over because I have to put stuff in there. I want to clean. I want to change the locks. So also, if you ever buy a house, change the locks immediately. It doesn't matter what's going on. You change those locks. Because of this reason, someone might still have a key, whether they say they have it or not. He was honest and said he still had a key. All right, fine. So I'm like, when are you gonna do this? Oh, I'll come later tonight and grab it. Like, no, you won't, because this is my house now. You can't just come into my house and take stuff, whether it's yours or not. Anyways, I was livid. I don't get angry very often. There's a few times. We have 2 stories in this hopefully this podcast where I'm absolutely livid. And the other thing, I went upstairs to look around. He had pulled the mirror off the wall in the bathroom. Now, part of our sale agreement was that anything that's on the walls, appliances, anything that's attached gets left. So the mirror was attached to the wall with a medicine cabinet. He had pulled that off and just left. There was a hole in the wall in my bathroom. Oh my gosh, I was so angry. So this is supposed to be like a great time in your life. You just bought a house. It's something that very few people do, especially my age. And it's just like, it's going down the toilet real quick. Not that I'm not getting the house or anything, but like, here I was expecting, just to get the key, move in, and it'd be done. Now all of a sudden, there's still stuff there. There's tons of repairs that need to be done, and the guy can still get into my house. So, anyways, it worked out the fact that my father-in-law was here, just kind of doing stuff while I was gone, and he had shown up while my father-in-law was here, and he was able to get his stuff out. He didn't get quite everything out of the garage. He did that on the next day. But still, and I found a mirror downstairs, like under the stairs, that I was able to just put on the wall to cover a hole in the wall. But again, that's just added stress I didn't need to do. So yeah, that's buying a house. I glossed over a lot of it, but this episode's getting long, and you don't want to hear a full half hour, an hour of me just talking about how to buy a house. Needless to say, I'm learning a lot about homeownership. There's a lot of stuff that we're working on and doing. We had to paint downstairs. I've done some painting back in the day, but I haven't done painting in a long time. So yeah, it's been that was rough. Like the whole downstairs, he just put up some drywall and some mudding, and I think a little bit of primer, but not a whole lot, or not completely covered in primer. So we had to do primer coat and then 2 coats of regular paint. I put trim up. I've never done trim before in my life. Put trim up by myself. Today I had some time alone finally by myself, and my arm is sore. My wrist and everything is pretty sore from painting doors. Yeah, I don't have Joe time, if you know what I mean. This is just like work related, not relax related. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm still not done. I still have more trim to put up on this door, and I still have to paint in here. But yeah, this, as you can see, this room is like very green. Not gonna do anything in this room. Like, this is just my room for me to hang out. I got my big TV, big TV over there, my couch and stuff. This is like where I just hang out with friends. Computer here, video games, all that stuff. But it's really nice that I have my own space. So before, if I was going to be, recording a video or doing a podcast or anything like that, because we basically we lived in one room, basically. We had a room, a bathroom, and a bedroom, basically. That's it. I would have to I'd have to wait for my wife to go to bed, and she goes to bed like around 10, which means I'm staying up till 10 and then doing the stuff after. So I'm not bothering her, or that she's not interrupting me while I'm trying to do what I'm doing, and that kind of thing. So now I just have my own space. I can just kind of sit down here and work away at stuff and do what I need to do. So yeah, it's that. In that case, it's nice. So, yeah, pretty. It's pretty wild. As far as what I've been doing, I've been playing some games. I got a PSVR over the Christmas break. That's been pretty fun. I've been buying a bunch of games on PSN that were on sale, just because they're cheap. So I've been playing Beat Saber a ton. Beat Saber is probably my favorite so far. I just feel awesome. I feel like a Jedi Master. Swinging those things around and just cutting blocks in half. I know it sounds really stupid, but it's really fun. I got my wife to play it. I took it over to my old house where my parents live. I took it over there for Christmas, and I got all my cousins and my dad playing it. And my grandpa, who's living with my parents right now, he's old. He's getting a little senile, but he sees us strap this thing to our face and waving our arms around, and he looks over at me and he's like, what the F is this? What the F is this? I'm like, oh, we're just playing games. This is effing stupid. Just, you look effing stupid. He doesn't swear very often. All of a sudden, it's just like 3 F-bombs just drop like that. It was so funny. And then he just left. He went into his room and laid down. He was done with the family. He didn't want to deal with this anymore. Oh, it was funny. But yeah, it's been great. I've had friends over a couple of times. We usually hang out every Friday night. I try to get people together, and it's just been like, we're playing VR. That's what we do. We swap the headset around. We gotta wipe it down sometimes. It gets a little sweaty in there, but it's really fun. I was playing Farpoint. I played that for almost 5 hours the first time I played it. When I took that off, my eyes were bloodshot red. I played it for so long. And I put this on Twitter, but like, you know how when you turn on a Nintendo console, it, like, immediately tells you that you should stop playing and take a break? Uh, PSVR has none of that, and that's where you need it because your eyes just go like boogie after a while. And I'm pretty good with VR. Like, I think I'm like, I don't really get motion sickness or anything like that, so I just kind of sit in there and do stuff. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. We were playing Surgeon Simulator VR the other night, and I don't think, like, we haven't laughed like that in a long time. VR has just kind of brought back that feeling of being a kid. You're excited to play games again. You're excited to laugh at your friends because they're doing stupid stuff, and then you get to do stupid stuff. I actually had a friend. We were playing a shooting range in PSVR or PlayStation Worlds or VR Worlds, whatever it's called. Um, he was dual wielding pistols, shooting targets. He had to drop his gun to grab a mag. He actually threw the move controller on the ground to grab a mag with his bare hand to throw it, and he just kind of like threw it and went to grab, and then he just kind of stopped. And he's just like, I think I'm done with VR right now because he's so involved into it that he's just done. Like, he actually for a second thought he was actually in this simulation to shoot stuff. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the graphics aren't super realistic. I would say they're not really realistic at all. Um, but it tickles your brain in just the right way to make you feel like, you're having fun, and you're really there. So, but yeah, I also bought Firewall. I haven't played it yet though because I just haven't had the time. My room's not very wide, if you can tell. Like, I don't have a wide angle lens, so like this is not a wide room. So what I end up having to do is put my camera kind of here. I'm pointing to where it would be at that end of the room, and then I actually play over here where I'm sitting, um, just so I have room to move around, so I can use the PlayStation Move gun controller, and swing around and duck and shoot and that kind of stuff. At least I had to do with Farpoint. So I'm assuming I'm going to have to do the same thing for Firewall, and I just haven't had time to set that up again. I haven't played Farpoint again since I turned it off. I'm kind of scared to go back in because it's pretty. I'm just afraid I'm gonna play for another 5 hours. What I have been playing though, I haven't been playing a whole lot. I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I got that just before we moved. Well, September, I guess. I played that for about a month and a bit. I got to chapter 2, and then this whole house moving stuff thing happened, and I basically have turned it off. I haven't turned it on in like 3 months. I'm really upset that I can't play it. I will want to go back to it. Right now I'm focusing on Shantae, a Half Genie Hero for PS4, which is the Cartridge Club Game of the Month. And I'm also on the podcast for that. I am/will be. So depending on when you see this, or rather, depending on where I put this one, when I put this out, I either will be on the podcast for that, or I have been on the podcast for that, or I am on the podcast. One of those options. So hopefully that will be a good show. I haven't really been on a whole lot of other like Cartridge Club podcasts, so the whole like interaction. I mean, I've been on Dollar Dorks. That was a lot of fun. But I haven't really been on anybody else. So doing like a podcast with other people will be a bit of a different experience for me. But yeah, that's been pretty great. I haven't been selling a whole lot. I know that kind of a basis. I'm buying a lot of stuff, so I'm trying to sell stuff just to like try to help with the finances now that I have other expenses that I have to pay. I have a mortgage to pay and bills and gas and heating and stuff. So I'm trying to make a little bit of extra money on the side just to kind of, fun money basically. So I'm not spending my actual money, I'm just spending money that I make on other stupid stuff. So about a while ago I was dumping this bin and I found like some really old antique, like vintage metal Tonka trucks. And they were pretty cool. I mean, they were all complete. One of them had a windshield broken in it, but whatever. But all the wheels were there, the seats and everything like that. They were a little rusty, they were dirty, because, I mean, they've been sitting probably in someone's garage for 40 years. I was like, you know what, these are pretty cool. So I pull them out, I put them in a box, and I just put them in my garage. Now that I have a garage, I can say that. Put it in my garage, and I said, you know what, I'll put this up on Facebook someday. And the other day I was in there, I saw them sitting up on the shelf. All right, you know what, I'm gonna post them. Put them out, took pictures, put them up on Facebook. I know they're worth a decent amount of money, but I didn't want to go through the hassle of listing each one individually and then dealing with whatever. I just put them all up, $50 for all of them, which I think is a steal. It's underpriced at that point. I had, it must have been 20 people, 20 or 30 people email me, message me on Facebook. Hey, I want this. I'll take it. When can I come and get it? Blah, 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 blah. So I never do like, I will hold it for you. I always do first come, first serve because I've had too many people flake out. Kijiji is horrible right now for people not coming when they say they're going to come, first of all. So I've kind of focused more towards Facebook because at least there's a name attached. The anonymity isn't there on both sides. So you're kind of held responsible for your actions or on what you say. I'll come back to that later. So I had this guy, and he's just like, when can I come and get it? And I said, I'm like, can you come and get it tonight? I will leave it with my wife, and you can grab it. Because I was going to a movie that night, so whatever. Anyways, while I'm in the movie theater, my phone's buzzing, bzz, 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 whatever. I kind of ignore it. When I get out, I see it's this guy messaging me. Hey, are you at your place? Well, I'm here. No one's answering the door. Anyways, and then the last one is, I got it. Thanks. Okay, so I just assumed everything had gone fine. Everything had worked itself out. As most things do, if you just kind of, I don't want to say this out loud, but for the most part, if you have a problem, if you just kind of like, don't react to it, just kind of wait. I'm not saying don't deal with it, but just kind of wait for a little bit. And 9 times out of 10, it'll just kind of resolve itself to the best ability without you having to get involved. So I just kind of, this worked out this time, in theory, I thought. So when I came home, I was talking to my wife, and I look at the counter, and I see $40, not $50. Now, my wife didn't steal $10 from me, because she doesn't, well, I hope she didn't steal $10 from me. So I'm like, what, like, it was $50, why is there 40? She was like, you know what, he came right when I was giving our son a bath. He was knocking at the door. I didn't want to leave the kid in the bathtub and me go downstairs and leave him. That's not responsible. So she had to get him out of the tub, wrap him up, come downstairs, grab the thing, give it to him. And he was upset that he had to wait for like 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. He was upset. Oh, I had to wait. And then he looks at them. Oh, these are dirty and they're kind of rusty. Or, oh, this windshield's broken. Here, take 40. He basically gives her $40 and then takes it and walks away. And again, it's cold out. My wife has my son in a towel. She's not going to run after him. She's like, but anyways. And he just left. He just took it for $40 and just left. So I was pissed. Like, here's the thing. Like I said before, I don't get angry that often. I know I'm saying that, and I'm giving you 2 stories of I've been pissed twice now in less than a month. I also want to make another thing clear. I don't care about $10. $10 doesn't make or break me. I have nothing in these. I got $40 for free. What kills me is the whole etiquette of the thing, and it's a principle. He knew it was $50 when he came to buy it. He never talked about changing the price or offering lower, anything like that. He just gives $40 and doesn't ask permission or anything. He just here's the money, walk away. So I get at my Facebook Messenger, and here I am assuming he's on Facebook. You know, be careful of what you say, because everything's on record, and you could be held accountable. So I sent him a message. I'm like, hey man, it was $50, not 40. He writes back, your wife sold it to me for 40. I'm like, no, the price was 50. You knew that coming. You can't just give $40 and walk away. That's theft. I didn't call him a thief. I just said, that's theft. That's it. And all of a sudden, he gets hostile with me. He says, call a cop then. Like, who's going to do anything about $10? And you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I'm angry at the situation. I was arguably more angry than I should have been. And I said to him, I reported him to Facebook. I'm like, he's been using aggressive language with me. I mean, yeah, you could say that I was being a bit of a wuss, and I was taking it a bit hard, but I was so angry. I just reported him to Facebook right away. You know what? He's using aggressive language with me. Don't want to see him. I blocked him. Oh, before I did that, I said to him, "I've reported you already. Don't worry." Just so he knows, like, I want him to know where I stand. Like, listen, you can't just do this and expect nothing to happen. Anyways, then he proceeded to call me some very rude names, and then I blocked him, and I haven't heard from him since. So whatever. That's not the end of that story. I wish it was. I wish it was just, you know, we both took our licks. Um, I got the raw end of that deal, but whatever. Hopefully I'm a bigger person and I can just kind of turn the other cheek and walk away, and not be upset about it. Um, he and just, you know what, you won. Okay, you're done. You saved yourself $10. Good for you. Bravo. Um, anyways, so that was a Tuesday night. So on Thursday, so two nights later, same week, I come from work. Like I said, it was a cold day because I think it was going to go down to -20 that night. It was getting Celsius, -20 Celsius. It was cold. Like, it was getting really cold. Um, I finished late. You know, I'm rushing to get home. I had to go pick up my son from daycare and go pick up my wife from work, and then get home. By the time we get home and then make dinner and stuff, it's, you know, by the end, my evenings are pretty rushed, especially if I run late. Um, we're trying to warm up dinner, and we have gas appliances, which is nice. Um, so my wife was trying to start the stove, trying to preheat it, and it wouldn't warm up. It wouldn't get hot. So we tried the stove. The flame would come on, like start like a starting flame, and then it would just like burn itself out and go out. Well, that's strange. Like, why would this happen? So, you know, I checked the fittings at the back. I go downstairs. I check the furnace. You know, it doesn't seem, it's not coming on. I don't know. It's not turned off though. I look around. All of a sudden, we look at the thermostat. We have it set for 72 Fahrenheit. This is the weird thing with Canada, is that we kind of run back between like Celsius and Fahrenheit. Depends on what we're doing. We had it set for 72 Fahrenheit. And when we looked at the thermostat, it was at 63, 62 or 63, like 10 degrees Fahrenheit difference. And it was getting cold. Like, it was getting cold in the house. We could feel it, and it was going to get colder. Like I said, I'm going to jump back and forth. -20 Celsius is cold, and you don't want to be in a place with no heat when it's -20 outside. So, all right, I'm getting concerned. So, I walk outside. I look around. I go over to the gas meter to see if there's anything wrong with there. And I see a set of footprints walking from the sidewalk. We live in the end unit. Walking from the sidewalk up to the gas meter and then back down. In itself, not a big deal. Probably the gas reader guy, right? Like, they have to come and read. They have to send you a bill. Okay. I look at the valve. I don't really know what I'm looking at. I've never looked at a gas valve before. But okay, fair enough. Let me go look at the other valves around in the condo complex. See what else. They also, a few of them had some footprints around them, but like not quite as direct as the one at mine. Not sure if that was any different, but the valves looked different than mine, and I'm not going to explain how. It's supposed to be at a 90-degree angle, and mine was at a 180-degree angle, basically, if that makes sense. So I just wasn't sure. So I ended up coming back. Like, it was getting late. It was 8 o'clock. Trying to put my son to bed, and I end up having to call like the union gas people and say, listen, like, I've got no heat. My furnace was blowing, but there's no hot air coming out. My gas appliances aren't running, and they didn't believe me. They're like, well, it's probably your appliances are run. I'm like, but not all my gas is working. It's just burning out. How is it an appliance issue? It's like a gas supply issue. And they were convinced that it was my fault, that I had done something. And if they were threatening, you know, like, if we send a tech out there and it's an appliance issue, we're going to charge you. I'm like, fine. I will pay whatever. Just send somebody over here because I don't know what I'm doing, and it's getting cold. Because I don't want to be dealing with a cold child this late at night. All right, well, we'll send somebody over. I think it might have been 20 minutes later. The gas tech came over, and she walked through the house. She was looking at the stove. I explained the situation. We walked downstairs. She looked at the furnace. Nothing weird. And I said to her, this is gonna sound a little bit ridiculous, but hear me out. I did a deal with somebody the other day, and it went bad. He's pissed at me. I'm pissed at him. Won't go into details. But he knows where I live. Could he have tampered with the gas to shut the gas off to my house to get back at me, quote unquote? And she said, it's possible. It isn't impossible for them to tamper with it. It's not hard. Okay. So she said, you know what? I'll go outside. If someone's tampered with it, I'll be back in a minute. If it's not, then I'll be out there for a while. She walked out. 30 seconds later, she was back at the door. Yep, someone's tampered with it. Come and have a look, and I'll show you what's going on. And sure enough, she showed me. It's at 180 degrees. The valve is. It needs to be at 90 degrees from the pipe. Someone's tampered with it. And, yeah. She's like, do you want me to... And I don't know if it was that guy that I pissed off on Facebook. I have no idea. Possibly. It's a very good chance. But... It's also could have just been because of the other footprints going to the other gas fittings. It could have been some like stupid kids running around with a wrench. Like, it's not hard to shut off gas. You literally just need a wrench. If you have an adjustable wrench, you can shut off gas for anything. But there is a way they can tell that someone's tampered with it. That's what she showed me how to look for. She also showed me how to adjust things if I had to. Not that I should, but if it happened really late at night and I couldn't get a hold of anybody, I could at least put the furnace on so I could get some heat in the house. And she showed me some safety things to look out for should I need to do it. But she also said, if it's just a regular use, please call someone to come and do it, because technically it's illegal for anyone else to touch it other than a certified gas technician. So take that as your warning. Don't just go shutting gas valves off unless you're pissed at somebody, clearly, because that's the way to deal with it. Real mature there, buddy. Like I said, I can't prove it was that guy. There's a chance, but it just seems a little bit too coincidental for it to be a random act. The gas tech was very friendly. She was very understanding. She's like, that sucks. She's never heard of this happening before, but apparently now it's a thing. She asked if I gave her the guy's name. They could send him a notice in the mail saying, hey, don't do this. I was like, you know what, I don't want to take it that far because, like I said, I can't prove it was him. I don't have a recording of his face. I can't prove it was him. I will just leave it as is. Hopefully he will, again, feel that he's just won. You won this fight. Go and have fun at home. Go and tell your buddies, oh, I was this guy and I went and did this. Again, if it was him, I'll just let him have it. If it happens again, then I'll contact you guys and let you know what happens. And she was okay with that. She said, all right, fine. You know what? I hope that was a reasonable response to have. But yeah, a bit of a crazy story. Anyways, the heat hasn't been turned off since. The gas has been fine. I haven't had to deal with any cold nights, thankfully. But yeah, those have been my crazy stories. Sorry, this episode went pretty long. I saw a bunch of movies, by the way. Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen Spider-Verse, go watch Spider-Verse. By far the best superhero movie I've seen. I like it more than any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. Like, that's... Spider-Verse is the best movie so far. Yeah, that's my ringing endorsement. Yeah, sorry this episode went long. It's not too long. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the episode. If you laughed at any of my jokes, please let me know somewhere on Twitter. You can find, CREP1337, Creeply Not So Special Podcast. Use a hashtag that I'll find somewhere. Tag me in it. Do whatever you got to do. I'm interested in hearing from you guys. I love interaction. Thank you to all the guys and girls out there putting out content for podcasts. I cannot thank you enough how much you guys make my life so much better when I'm driving a truck for how many hours a day. I know a lot of you guys do like weekly or monthly podcasts. Um, if you're doing monthly, please consider going bi-weekly. If you go bi-weekly, consider going month. If you go bi-weekly, please go weekly. And if you're weekly, please go daily. That's all I can say. The more podcasts, the better, because I enjoy listening to you guys so much. Um, Chances are, if you're listening to me, I also listen. If you have podcasts, I'm also listening to you guys as well. Um, yeah, it's just out there. All right, I'm gonna cut this one off. It's been long enough. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you guys all in the next one. No promises when that'll be. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys later. Bye.